Battle Through the Heavens, Grand World. Chapter 217 Yin Kang. The Profound Yin sect was located in the eastern part of the Profound Yin Castle. Although it was located in the Profound Yin Castle, its true sect was located in the vast wilderness. It was located in a naturally formed mountain range, where the Profound Yin sect was located. At this moment, the Profound Yin sect was bustling with activity. The arrival of many guests had caused many disciples to be busy. Fortunately, there were many elders who had organized the situation. Hence, they did not panic and settled everyone down in an orderly manner. There was a spacious open field in front of the entrance of the Profound Yin sect. The seats were already filled with people. The commotion was accompanied by the howling wind and sand. They were waiting for the start of the competition. In a relatively remote courtyard within the Profound Yin sect, a gray-robed young man with a pale face sat cross-legged on a stone mill. The young man's black hair was draped over his shoulders and his hair was messy. There seemed to be a kind of sick feeling between his eyebrows. His hands, which were placed on his legs, were long and pale, filled with killing intent. There was an ancient tree behind the youth. A fierce wind blew past. Yellow leaves fell from the ancient tree and landed on the young man's shoulder. In a short while, the yellow leaves had turned black and turned into ashes. Jia. The silence of the courtyard was suddenly broken by the sound of the door opening. A disciple of Profound Yin sect walked in and looked at the young man who was sitting cross-legged on the stone mill. His eyes were full of respect. "Young sect master, the competition is about to begin. Sect master has asked you to prepare." The disciple stood with his hands hanging down, and his expression was extremely respectful. The gray-robed young man slowly opened his eyes. He exhaled a long breath of air and stood up from the stone mill. His figure was tall and straight. A cold killing intent suddenly emerged from his body. "Let's go." The gray-robed young man flicked the dust off his robe. However, there wasn't a trace of fluctuation in his eyes as he spoke in an indifferent manner. In his opinion, this competition was a complete waste of energy. No monarch emperor or above experts were allowed to participate. This bullshit rule made this competition meaningless, but it was his father's strong request. Yin Kang had no choice but to cooperate. As he followed the disciple out, a trace of excitement flashed across Yin Kang's eyes. His father had promised him that once this competition ended, he would let him go out to training. At that time, it would be the most interesting. Yin Kang's indifferent face revealed an unnoticeable smile, and a trace of heat quietly filled his eyes. Yin Jushuan sat on the seat in the middle, and his gaze paused. He saw Jade Fairy swaying as she walked over. He saw the latter's peerlessly beautiful face. A trace of evil lust flashed across Yin Jushuan's eyes. If his guess was right, within 3 months, the poison in this woman's body would completely erupt. At that time, he wouldn't be able to control his consciousness. This is also good. At that time, I will be able to obtain some secret techniques from some master alchemists. This beautiful woman would become an object in his palm. Although he thought this way, Yin Jushuan didn't reveal it on the surface. Jade Fairy only thought that she would die after the poison erupted. She didn't know that even though she had her own subconscious, she wouldn't be able to control her body. "What brings you here, Pavilion Master Yu?" The moment Jade Fairy appeared, almost all the eyes in the arena were focused on her. After all, only a few people could enter the second floor of Medicine Pavilion. Most of them had never seen Jade Fairy's face before. Jade Fairy greets the sect chief. Jade Fairy smiled and looked at Yin Jushuan. She slightly bent down and caught a glimpse of him. That smile almost mesmerized everyone. "There is a disciple in Medicine Pavilion with outstanding talent. I hope the sect chief will give us a chance." Jade Fairy's red lips parted slightly and her voice was charming. She looked at Yin Jushuan with her beautiful eyes and was filled with amorous feelings. "Woo!" Yin Jushuan muttered to himself. He said faintly, "A disciple of Medicine Pavilion. To be able to attract the attention of the Lord of Jade Pavilion, I think he must be pretty strong." Jade Fairy smiled and did not hide anything. She said softly, "That's right. Although his strength is only at the monarch spirit, he had mistakenly eaten a 1,000-year-old medicinal ginseng before. Hence, it is enough to challenge an ordinary emperor." Challenge an emperor. Yin Jushuan smiled when he heard this. The doubt in his heart also disappeared a lot. No wonder Jade Fairy took a fancy to him. It was because he had taken the 1,000-year-old medicinal ginseng. Yin Jushuan had also heard of that thing. It could be considered an extremely rare medicinal herb that could stimulate the greater potential within one's body. Yin Jushuan sneered in his heart. He had always been on guard against Jade Fairy from the beginning until the end. He would never give her any chance to obtain the White Sun Spirit Lotus. However, did she think that by relying on her strength to challenge the Emperor, she would want to win the competition? Since Pavilion Master Yu has spoken, I can't refuse. What's the name of that fellow? Jade Fairy smiled lightly when she heard him. She turned her head and said lightly, Xiao Yan. Yin Jushuan's eyes sparkled. According to what he knew, the disciples of the major powers in Star-Severing Mountain Range didn't seem to have any names. He nodded his head. Yin Jushuan turned his head and said to the Protector Elder. Did you hear that? Write Xiao Yan's name down on your name and count him in for the competition later. Yin Jushuan said it himself. The Protector Elder didn't dare to say anything. He took out a bamboo slip and placed both of his fingers together, carving Xiao Yan's name. Jade Fairy's pretty eyes looked at the Protector Elder's curving name on the bamboo slip. After which, she smiled and bowed to Yin Jushuan before leaving. Yin Jushuan watched Jade Fairy leave with his eyes. A trace of a smile was revealed at the corner of his mouth as he looked at the enchanting figure of the latter. 3 months later, this beautiful woman would finally obediently lie in his embrace. Yin Jushuan turned his head around and looked at the arena below. There were already a lot of people gathering there. As his gaze shifted, Yin Jushuan saw Yin Kang, who was wearing a gray robe, sitting quietly at a spot below. He did not attract much attention. This kid. He laughed softly. Yin Jushuan waved his hand. When the Protector Elder saw this, he immediately stood up and cleared his throat. His voice was like a giant bell. The profound Yin sect martial competition will begin now. As soon as he finished speaking, a wave of cheers that seemed to cover the sky and the earth was heard. This competition indirectly represented the strength of the young generation of Star-Severing Mountain Range. Whoever was stronger and who was weaker could be clearly seen through this competition. When he heard the loud cheers, Yin Kang coldly harumphed and slowly closed his eyes. A competition of this level was truly boring. It's quite lively. Under Yun Er's lead, Xiao Yan arrived at the place where the profound Yin sect was located. As soon as he entered the arena, he heard the sound of the profound Yin sect's guardian elder announcing the start of the competition. When he heard the earth-shattering cheers, he couldn't help but smile. Yun Er, who was standing beside him, wasn't as calm as Xiao Yan. There was a trace of worry in her beautiful eyes. She looked around as if she was looking for something. There are no rules in this competition. The participants only need to step onto the fighting stage and defeat the challenger. There are a total of 16 participants in this competition. In other words, these 16 people can go onto the fighting stage at the same time. The final one standing will be the winner of this competition. The Protector Elder's voice was like a huge thunder that resounded in everyone's ears. The unregulated competition made everyone even more excited. Boring. Yin Kang coldly harumphed when he heard this. He raised his head and saw Yin Jushuan looking at him with a smile on his face. Yin Kang grinned and revealed his white teeth. He slowly stood up and moved his body, appearing on the competition stage. Yin Kang of Profound Yin Sect, please enlighten me. The gray-robed youth looked at the crowd with an indifferent expression. He cupped his hands, then put his hands behind his back and said no more. Xiao Yan's expression changed. He looked at the gray-robed young man on the stage and narrowed his eyes. He smiled and said, "Is that Yin Kang? This key is indeed extraordinary. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.